Mantour Ministries presents the Mantour Guy Podcast. We may talk about football. We could mention bacon. We might reference Rocky movies. We'll probably discuss the Mantour conferences, but we'll definitely talk about how to grow in our walk with God. Here's your host, the Mantour Guy, Jamie Holden.
Hey guys, Mantour Guy, Jamie Holden here, and I'm so happy to have you join us today for this special Super Bowl edition of the Mantour Guy Podcast. As you all know, I'm a huge football fan, so today I want to do something fun, a fun football episode with you as we head into this weekend's big matchup with the Patriots versus the Eagles. Alright, well, full disclosure, I live in Central PA, and it is Eagles mania around here. And that, coupled with my overall disdain for the Patriots as a lifelong Broncos fan, plus the fact that, I'm really tired of seeing the Patriots go to the Super Bowl every single year, that made me this to being, a little lopsided in our discussion to being pro-Eagles. But when it comes to time to make the pick at the end of the episode for our lead pipe, write it in ink pick, I'm going to try and remain objective. But just so you know, Patriots fans, it's going to be a little bit one-sided Eagles here. But we're going to do a couple things in this week's podcast. First, we're going to look back at the Super Bowl predictions that our guests have made over the last few months, including mine, and we'll see which two guests nailed the matchup prediction. That's right, we had two guests actually predict it would be the Eagles versus the Patriots. So we'll see who that was, and spoiler for you all, it wasn't me. I did pick half of the matchups correctly, but I didn't get one of them right. Well, we're also going to look at my overall record in picks this season, as well as my record in the Write It in Ink picks. I'm also going to have some words of advice for all the Eagles fans out there and what not to post on social media after the game. So it's going to be a fun episode, it's going to be a different episode, but let's get started with the Mantour Guys Super Bowl special. Alright, let's start off by looking back at our very first podcast and seeing exactly who was picked to go to the Super Bowl. Our first guest we interviewed back in week 2, we missed week 1, we didn't get started in time for that, but in week 2 was Brian Pruitt, and Brian shared with us who he picked to go to the Super Bowl. Who are you picking this year for the Super Bowl for the AFC NFC? Who do you think's going to win it all?
Well, that's kind of that's a bad question, Jamie. I'm just going to put that out there, and here's why that's a bad question, because everybody knows who's going to win the Super Bowl this year. Everybody knows. The best team in football, the best team in NFL history is going to win the Super Bowl this year, and everybody knows that's the Pittsburgh Steelers, buddy.
Wow.
Come on now, Jamie. I'm sure you're sitting there right now with your favorite Pittsburgh Steelers shirt on, and all our guests are out there with their Pittsburgh Steelers shirts on. We know what's going on. We know it's the Steelers.
Well, as we see, Brian was not one of the two that got it correct. He was wrong in that pick. I love you, Brian, but sorry, it was not the correct pick. Well, let's look ahead now to week 3, and here's the pick made by my sister, Odessa Holden, when she was on discussing what to expect at the Mantour Conference. Alright, so I know this question is going to cause tension between me and you, but give me your Super Bowl picks for the 2018 NFL season. Who's going to go win the Super Bowl?
Well, obviously, because I am your sister and I am a fantastic person, I am going to cheer for the Denver Broncos and hope against hope that they can actually pull something out. But we both know that's not going to happen. So, my Super Bowl pick is the Patriots for this year, because I am a fan of Tom Brady, and I think it would be awesome. Last year he won to prove that he was good enough to win even without cheating. This year he can win just for the glory of it and then retire forever and ever. So this year, my pick is the Patriots.
That just hurts to hear how you could cheer for the Patriots, but
wow. I'm cheering for the Broncos, but I think the Patriots are going to win.
There are mortal enemies as a Bronco fan, but I'll cut you some slack there. Anyways, my Super Bowl picks for the 2018 season. Well, my heart says Denver, but my brain says you're right. The Patriots are going to win it. On the NFC side, I am all in on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think they're going to be hard to stop. If the defense can keep the other team from scoring, they're going to be hard to outscore. I am all in on Tampa Bay Buccaneers to go and lose to the Patriots in the Super Bowl. And hopefully when Brady wins, he will retire and we don't have to put up with him anymore. Sorry, Patriot fans, but I'm a loyal Bronco fan. I got to be true and not like Tom Brady. technically you could say Odessa was 100% right because she only picked the Patriots. She didn't pick the NFC. But, it doesn't count. She didn't pick an NFC team, but she was right about the Patriots. You got to give her that. And you heard in that clip there as well who my picks were. I really had high hopes for the Buccaneers this year, but I was so incredibly wrong. But even against my better judgment, I did pick the Patriots, and it turned out it was a pretty good pick. So there's the spoiler of who the Mantour Guy had picked preseason to win the Super Bowl, and man, was I wrong about the Buccaneers. Well, now let's move ahead to Week 4 and take a look and see what Bobby Basham, the men's director of the Potomac District, had to say about who he thought was going to go to the Super Bowl this year. Well, Bobby, I know you are a big football fan. You're a Washington Redskins fan. Who are you picking this year to go to the Super Bowl?
Wow, I know who I'd like to see, but I have to be a little bit real. And so I'm going to go against conventional wisdom. And I'm going to base it on the very first game of the season. Kansas City Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl.
They looked good.
They're going to have to play the Seattle Seahawks.
Who's going to win?
Seattle, of course. Who could go against Seattle?
Wow, Bobby. Tough calls there. You weren't even close, my friend. Sorry to say, but you're closer than I was really bad with my NFC team too, so that's an interesting pick there. Let's look ahead now to Week 5. We had Scott Kramer on as our guest. And Scott, he had half the call right. Let's check out and see who Scott picked to be going to the Super Bowl this year. Well, Scott, we're quickly approaching, the football season started here. And I wanted to ask you, who are you picking this year for the Super Bowl?
I have the Seahawks beating the Patriots by a landslide.
A landslide? Wow.
I'm just kidding. I'm not a huge huge Patriots fan. I mean, I respect them, incredible team, and I know Greg Hubbard, who might be listening, huge Patriots fan. I'm not a huge fan of them. So, and I do love Russell Wilson. I love watching him. He's a playmaker. I just love watching him play. So I can see those two teams advancing, and I'm rooting for the Seahawks. But who knows? Yeah.
All right, our next pick was by Rick Allen, the National Director of Men's Ministry for Assemblies of God. And, Rick had some very interesting pick here for a Super Bowl. Let's look back at that pick here. I'm asking all of our guests, who are you picking to go to the Super Bowl this year?
My Super Bowl pick, my Super Bowl winner is Cowboys. And that's, I already hear it now. Because it looks like the Chiefs are going to do good, but it's too soon in the season. And I really think Cowboys are going to bring it back together again. I'm a Cowboy fan, so I'm going with Cowboys.
Not a big fan of the Cowboys.
Yeah, go on. You're what? Are you a Jets fan or?
I'm
Giants
a Denver
fan?
Broncos fan my whole life. I love the Broncos. Well, next up in our picks here, we had as our guest was Tom Reese, a good friend here, and he's a lifelong Eagles fan, so of course he got the Eagles part of his pick right. But let's see who he thought the Eagles were going to be playing here. Well, Tom, I know you are a big Eagles fan, so I was going to ask who your AFC and NFC Super Bowl picks are, but I already know you're going to pick the Eagles because they're playing pretty decently this year. So who do you think the Eagles are going to play in the Super Bowl?
Man, that's a great question. When I think through that, New England's usually there. They're having a bit of a struggle this year, but when I look at those picks and see who's lined up, I know one team that's not going to be there, Jamie. And that's the Broncos. So I'm really hoping the Chiefs get there. I want a rematch with the Chiefs. That's the one loss my Eagles team has this year. And I think they continue to improve. Carson Wentz is trying to figure out how he's going to use all his receivers and the firepower they have. So I'm kind of hoping it'll be Kansas City.
Yeah.
And my Eagles.
Yeah, your Eagles. I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully, I actually like the Eagles kind of. I like Carson Wentz. Don't tell anybody I said that, but I'm kind of coming around a little bit.
Help. Yeah, from that scripture that says, "From whence cometh my help? And I shall mount up with wings as eagles."
So it's Bible ordained. They're going to the Super Bowl this year. If you heard it from Tom right here. Well, Tom, I'm real happy that Eagles are in the Super Bowl. You're really, really wrong about that Chiefs side of it, but we'll forgive you for that. Next up, we had my pal Joey Cullen from Philadelphia's Masters Commission. He's also on our Mantour Ministries Board of Directors. And who did Joey pick? Well, being a lifelong Patriots fan, we're all pretty sure we know who his first pick was. And, honestly, let's hear what Joey had to say here. Well, I know, Joey, you are a big NFL. Patriots are your team. You love the Patriots. So I was going to ask you who your AFC and NFC Super Bowl picks are, but I know the Patriots are your pick. So who do you think they're going to beat in the Super Bowl?
Who are we going to beat in the Super Bowl? But obviously, obviously the Patriots are my pick. And, I can't stand many other teams, but one team I really can't stand is the Steelers. And that's your team, isn't it?
No, I'm a Broncos fan. Dude, I'm doing this interview in a Broncos hat. Seriously.
Sorry, I thought that was an Eagle.
Yeah. All right, next up, we got Dwayne Goodling was on our podcast a few weeks back, and we asked him to make his Super Bowl prediction, and let's see who he picked here to go to the Super Bowl. And I know you're a football fan. You're a Cowboys fan. I'll still let you be on the show, even though you're a Cowboys fan. But, who are you picking for this year's Super Bowl picks? I know it can't be the Cowboys. They're not looking too good, but who are you going with?
Well, hey, the Cowboys could still get in there. They could get on a roll. I don't know, So, I always have the Cowboys as just kind of a backup pick, even if it's not the major ones. But, in the NFC, it kills me to say this, but the Eagles look really good.
Yeah, they do.
And I can't believe I even said that. But, the Eagles have been playing really well, and if they can keep staying strong the way they are, and a lot of other teams struggling, it kills me to say I think maybe the Eagles. In the AFC, until somebody knocks down the Patriots, I don't. They played so well. The Chiefs have been strong, but I'm going to go Eagles Patriots.
Well, there you have it, our very first pick. That was exactly right. Dwayne picked it, the Eagles versus Patriots, and it was a really gutsy call on his part, too. I'll give him credit because as a lifetime Cowboys fan, he went up and he picked the Eagles anyway. So, great call there, Dwayne. You got that one right. Eagles versus the Patriots. And next up, we have my friend Tom Sember on. Tom's a men's ministry speaker and author, and he's a former men's ministry director of the New York District. And let's see who Tom picked to go to the Super Bowl this year. We're entering Week 11 of the NFL. Before we talk about the games, though, who are you picking for the Super Bowl this year?
Sadly, New England. I think New England will do it again. Doesn't matter if they're going to play. I haven't decided who they're going to go against, but New England. Being a Buffalo Bills fan, we've seen too much of Tom Brady. I can't wait for him to retire. I'm thinking if he wins one more, maybe he'll retire.
They traded his backup, so I don't think he's retiring anytime soon. There you go, Tom. You got the New England part. I know that was a hard pick to make, being a lifelong Bills fan, but, you went there and you picked it, and we'll see what happens if they actually win the Super Bowl or not here. So, okay, next up was Jason Torval, who is a lifetime Eagles fan, and let's see who Jason had to pick here to go to the Super Bowl. All right, Jason, who are your AFC and NFC Super Bowl picks? I already know who your NFC is, but I'll let you say it anyways.
I'll tell you what, for the Eagles, definitely going to take them. And I am rooting for the Steelers. I'm hoping for a Turnpike Super Bowl.
Could happen.
It could.
I was all in on the Patriots, even though I hate the Patriots. I thought for sure, but they're not the same team they were last year. Their defense is horrible. So I don't know. You might be right on that one. Chiefs are falling apart, and
yeah, it's hard to ever count them out. They're a quality team, but I'm rooting for the Pennsylvania Super Bowl. So
that'd be interesting. Yeah, Jason got half of it right there, and you predicted the Turnpike Bowl. And to be honest with you, if I would have thought either of the two teams would have made it from the Turnpike Bowl, I would not. Honestly, I'll say I thought it would have been the Steelers. But the Eagles, they came through. They came up big, and we got half of our Turnpike Bowl here. But fortunately, the Steelers did not make it through. Okay, next up, and our final pick we're going to look at here was John Bowman. John is actually going to be the main session speaker this weekend at our Delaware Mantour. He's a huge, huge Eagles fan. I'm sure he's going to be pumped up, but let's look back and see who John picked to go to the Super Bowl here. I'm going to start by asking John, who are you picking to go to the Super Bowl for the AFC and the NFC?
Well, I think the Eagles. I think the Eagles are going to make it. I think this is the year the Eagles will make it. They're a good, solid team. And the AFC, right now, it looks like I really thought it was going to be the Steelers, but after them last night, they just didn't do that well. And it seems like I hate to say it, but it seems like the Patriots are probably going to be the favorite. So, but I think this could be the year that the Eagles finally do make the Super Bowl again. So it could be a repeat. Eagles and Patriots.
Who wins?
Well, I think this is the year of the Eagle.
All right, I could see that. There you have it. John was our second person to actually predict the Eagles would play the Patriots in the Super Bowl. Good pick, John. Looking forward to hearing what God has in your heart for this weekend with the men at the Mantour. And I know you guys are going to be pumped up about your Eagles. All right, guys. Well, there we have it. Look back at all the picks we've had over the past year. We had some good times and fun picks with all these men picking who they thought were going to go to the Super Bowl. And, now it's time to see who was actually right. Who are our two remaining. Will the Eagles win it? Will the Patriots win it? We just don't know. But when we come back, we're going to have more from the Mantour Guy Podcast right after these messages.
Don't forget to visit iTunes to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Thanks.
Hey guys, the Mantour Guy, Jamie Holden here. I'd love to come share at your church, at your men's ministry, at your next men's event, or men's breakfast. I have a challenging word for God's men to help them become the men that God has called them to be. If you'd like to have me come share with your group, visit mantourministries.com to contact me about coming to challenge and encourage your church's men to grow in their walk with God.
Follow the Mantour Guy on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks.
Did you know that over 33% of girls have seen pornography online before the age of 13? Protect your daughters by installing Covenant Eyes on all your computers and mobile devices. Covenant Eyes blocks all pornography so that it can't reach your little girl and cause damage to her spiritually or emotionally. Sign up today using the code MANTOR and receive 1 month of service free. Guys, that's a no-brainer. Try it for a month and see how it helps protect your precious daughters from the filth of internet porn. Sign up using code MANTOR, MANTOUR, at covenanteyes.com today.
Yep. You're listening to the Mantour Guy Podcast.
No matter where you came from, what you've done, or what you struggle with, God can use you. He can restore you. He can put you in the starting lineup and use you to change the world. Let's stop believing the enemy's lies. In Mantour Ministries' book, Get in the Game, you will review the game tapes of biblical examples to learn what plays they made, where they fumbled, and how we can gain a victory. Order your copy today at mantourministries.com. It's time to get off the bench and get in the game.
Order your copy today at mantourministries.com. The Mantour Guy Podcast, helping men grow in their walk with God.
Hey guys, Jamie Holden here. Did you know that only 10% of churches have a healthy, thriving men's ministry? That's only 1 out of 10 churches. Well, my mission is to see this number become 100%. Join me in my work with HEUS Missions to help develop men's ministry in the local church. Become a monthly financial investor in the work God called me to do by going to mantourministries.com/partner and clicking on the Give Online button. Together, we can see God continue to move among men.
Welcome back to the Mantour Guy Podcast.
Welcome back, guys. Okay, now it's time for
the Mantour Lead Pipe. Write it in ink NFL pick.
All right, well, I want to go back over all my picks in the podcast this season. And I picked 29 games correctly, and I got 22 games wrong overall. Most of my misses when I guessed wrong with my picks, they actually were because I let my Broncos loyalty and my dislike of the Cowboys and the Chargers influence me too strongly. And, but I should have been a little bit more even thought instead of letting my emotions rule there. But overall, I had a winning record. I'll take it. When it came to the Write It in Ink picks, I had a record of 9-4. So overall, I had a winning season. So as we head into this weekend's Super Bowl, I'm going to predict today on the Mantour Guy Podcast in my Write It in Ink pick that the Patriots offense is going to come out on fire. They're going to get at least 100 yards of penalties in their favor to help them out. They're going to get at least one questionable booth review go their way because we know the 12th man is always on the Patriots side. And then as the game goes forward, are you ready for this? The Patriots are still gonna lose to the Philadelphia Eagles 34-31. You heard it here. The Eagles will get their first Super Bowl victory. I can feel it in the air, and the Patriots are gonna lose in a nail biter. So there you have it. I am predicting the upset. Well, guys, as we wrap up today's podcast, I want to close by sharing some advice with my listeners who are Eagles fans about what not to put on social media after the game on Sunday. So listen up, here's some great advice for all you Eagles fans. All right, do not taunt the Steelers fans that you beat the Patriots and they never can. Okay, first of all, most Steelers fans are going to be cheering for you because they don't want the Pats having the same number of rings that they have. And second, as soon as you taunt them, your timeline is going to be blown up with posts about how many rings the Steelers have compared to you. Because if there's one thing that Steelers and Cowboys fans love, it's living in the past and talking about all of their past victories, even though it's been a while since either of them have really won anything recently. So, don't taunt the Steelers fans. Also, don't taunt Cowboy fans. Trust me, guys, I know how tempting this is. As someone who regularly shares anti-Cowboy memes, I have a friend who I share stuff to him all the time. I've even been sharing him jokes about Tony Romo, even though he's in the sound booth now. I just can't stand the Cowboys. But I know it's going to be tempting for you to rub it in their faces that you won. But like I said earlier, they live in the past, and when you bombard them with, they're going to light you up with posts about how many rings they have. Even though they haven't won a Super Bowl in decades, they're still going to tell you how many rings they have compared to yours. So just spare yourself the grief and just don't even go there. All right, here's some more advice. Before you post anything, ask yourself, do I want to get this posted to me in the future years? All right, this is something I learned personally. Trust me, I was obnoxious when my Broncos won the Super Bowl, and I let all my Eagle friends know how happy I was and how their team never won a Super Bowl and mine has. But now, the tables have turned, and so have the obnoxious posts and the jokes about my Broncos. Honestly, I'm kind of interested to see how this weekend's Mantour goes in Delaware, because 2 years ago when the Broncos won the Super Bowl, the day before we had our Mantour in Delaware, and I was obnoxious about my Broncos, and I'm sure I'm going to hear it back this weekend about the Eagles. But I love it. It's all fun. I love every minute of it. But just a warning, prepared. Whatever you dish out now, you're going to get back in the future, so don't dish anything you don't want to receive, guys. All right, and then my final piece of advice, do not say this is the happiest day of your life to your wife or your family or on social media. Trust me, it is not going to go over well. Guys, let's learn from Case Keenum after the Minneapolis Miracle and say it's the third best day of your life after accepting Jesus as your Savior and getting married. Honestly, do you want to spend after the games basking in your victory, sleeping on the sofa? Seriously, you don't want to. Don't go there. Don't say it's the happiest day of your life, guys.
The Mantour Guy's final thought.
All right, guys, for my final thought, look, I really hope the Eagles win the Super Bowl. I am all in on the Eagles, but we have no way of really knowing who's going to win the game. Honestly, until it's played, we won't know who wins. Did anyone expect the Jaguars to make the AFC Championship game? I really don't think anybody did. For that matter, did anybody really expect that the Eagles are going to blow out the Vikings the way they did? Honestly, no matter how big of an Eagles fan you are, you got to admit you expected that game to be closer than it was. You just never know what's going to happen. So as you head into the game, remember that this is exactly what it is. It's a game. It's a fun event. So if the Eagles win, have fun, have a blast. But if they lose, still have fun. I remember when my Broncos lost to the Seahawks in a blowout. Everyone around me was stunned by how I handled that game. I didn't get angry. I didn't get upset. I didn't pout. Instead I celebrated the good season. I moved on, and I said, we'll win it next year. And then 2 seasons later, we actually did win the Super Bowl. Truthfully, winning is way better than losing, but in the end, guys, it really is just a game. And remember, it's a great time to make memories and spend time with family and friends. And also remember, you're going to have little eyes watching you to see how you handle the victory or the defeat. Is it going to be a good memory in their minds, or is it going to be a bad memory of how Daddy handled the Super Bowl? Seriously, guys, it's just a game. Have fun, enjoy it, celebrate your Eagles, have a great time, enjoy the game, and go Eagles. So as we end this podcast, just a reminder, our Mantour conferences are officially underway. Check out the dates and locations for your local Mantour conference at mantourministries.com. This weekend, like I said, we're going to be in Dover, Delaware for a Delaware Mantour. It's going to be a fun weekend. All those Eagle fans are going to be hyped up. So keep this Mantour and all of the rest of the Mantours in prayer as we move forward. And as we end, I'll leave you with this one final thought on this week's Super Bowl. There you have it. Fly, Eagles, fly. Well, guys, thanks for joining us today. We'll see you next week on an all-new edition of the Mantour Guy Podcast, and go Eagles.
Thanks for listening to the Mantour Guy Podcast. Be sure to visit MantourMinistries.com to learn more about our books, men's ministry resources, and our Mantour conferences.
Mantour season's almost here, and this year we are under construction. Do not miss your local Mantour conference. We have powerful main session speakers, and we have 3 new relevant workshops for 2018. So make sure to put your local Mantour conference on your 2018 calendar. Remember, God's not finished with us yet. We're all under construction.
For Mantour conference dates and locations, visit MantourMinistries.com.